On today's Strictly Vikings, we will recap the Vikings versus Seahawks game, an absolute thriller in Seattle. We're going to take our side-eye look around the league. We had some mix-up in the NFC. The Eagles went down. We got some things to talk about there. We'll take our Facebook scroll of the week and see what Vikings fans are thinking after that Seahawks win. We're going to preview the Vikings versus Packers game, maybe if arguably top two, if not the most anticipated game in US Bank Stadium history. We're going to run through it. And of course, we'll finish it off with our ChatGPT player of the day. Let's get into it. Today is Wednesday, December 25th, and Merry Christmas to all my listeners. And if you're listening to this on Christmas, I have a newfound respect for you. You are a dedicated Minnesota Vikings fans, a dedicated Strictly Vikings fan, and I greatly appreciate it. And if you're not listening to it on Christmas, I hope you had time with your family. I hope you ate some good food, opened some presents, watched some football, all of the above. It's the best time of the year. Happy holidays to everyone, whether you celebrate or not. Happy holidays, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, let's get to football. This is what we came here for. What an absolute thriller of a game. Thriller of a game. Came down to the last drive, like it always does with the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, are we surprised that it went down to the last drive? I'm not at all. Sam Darnold delivered in the clutch. 4 minutes on the clock. He delivered probably his best throw of his entire football career to the best wide receiver on the planet, and he made it happen. Unbelievable stuff from my guy, Sammy D. Anyway, I came out of that game thinking, what are they going to say now? The people would always say the Vikings can't beat good teams. They did that. They can't win on the road in the elements. They did that. And the Vikings just are a bunch of pretenders, and they can only beat up on bad teams. Well, they proved all those people wrong on Sunday. A game-winning drive, a game-winning turnover. It's just what the Vikings do. And I'm used to it now. And I mean, I love it. I'm still going to react, and I'm going to celebrate like I've never seen it in my life. But it's like, this is every single week. This is what this team does. And if this team just keeps doing it in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. They're going to win games. If you keep executing down the stretch like you do, you're going to win games, especially close games. And that's what you need to do in the playoffs. Playoff games are typically close, and you need to execute down the stretch. And that's what this Vikings team is best at. And I think the chemistry and the team morale and just the locker room is at an all-time high right now, to where this is a force coming full speed into the playoffs. And I wouldn't want to face the Vikings at all. At all. If I'm the Lions, the Eagles, whatever it is, I don't want to see the guys in purple in the playoffs. Let's get to this game a little bit more. We'll start with the offense like we always do. What an opening drive. Getting everyone involved. You got Hawkinson, Jones, Jefferson, Jordan Addison. He finished it off with the touchdown. A thrilling opening drive, and that's what you have to do on the road. Silent this crowd, especially at Lumen Field or whatever you want to say. Quiet the 12s, and that's what the Vikings did, and that was a key factor into taking that crowd out of the game. Kevin O'Connell always highlights you got to take the crowd out of the game when you're on the road. Getting that momentum early is huge. It seemed like in the first half, this offense was struggling a little bit. They did put up 17 points, which is great, but they were gifted kind of 3 after that Dallas Turner interception. It's just third and shorts. It seemed like there was something off with third and short. Third and short is where you want to be if you're getting the third down. You don't want to be at third down at all. Don't get me wrong, but if you're in third and short, that's going to give you the best chance to converting, and third and 4 and less is where you want to be. And the Vikings got to that point, but they were just making third and short look very complicated. A lot of shotgun, not running the ball, and I understand because that Seattle front is big and they got some playmakers, and I wouldn't want to mess with them either when my offensive line is banged up. But I don't know, it was something just looked off on third and short, and it was kind of making me upset. Justin Jefferson one-on-one coverage, that's automatic. I mean, they left a rookie cornerback out there, third string cornerback out there with Justin Jefferson on an island. You don't think that's going to be a touchdown? That's an auto throw. We've talked about it on this podcast before. That's an auto throw. Justin Jefferson one-on-one. And if Justin Jefferson doesn't catch it with one-on-one, then it's usually PI. And if it's PI in the end zone, puts the ball at the one. It's an automatic throw if you got one-on-one with Justin Jefferson. I mentioned it earlier. You want to capitalize off that interception, but nailing a 52-yarder for Will Reichert is fantastic too. He came up big down the stretch. Vikings don't win that game without him. He's been playing good. Let's just fourth quarter here. Let's take a second to acknowledge what Sam Darnold did on that game-winning throw. He gets the ball, he drops back. He steps up in the pocket, does an excellent job stepping up in the pocket. He gets clipped as he's letting this ball go. He gets nailed on his left shoulder. He's on one leg, and he gets hit low as well. Takes a brutal hit falling down, but he still manages it to throw it towards the sideline, towards Justin Jefferson, away from both defenders, over one defender's head, and to the left of where the defender couldn't reach it. Justin Jefferson spins midair, spins around, catches it because it's Justin Jefferson. Why wouldn't he? And he scores a game-winning touchdown. Unbelievable stuff. One of the greatest throws I have ever seen in my life from a Vikings quarterback. And people were in my DMs saying it was a lucky throw. People were in my DMs saying it wasn't a great throw. It was an athletic throw. What does that even mean? I have no idea what the fuck that means. An athletic throw, not a good throw. That is just a bunch of boof. It's been a theme this year. People are always trying to hate no matter what on the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings could go 17-0, but they'd only win. They'd win 4 games by only 1 point, and frauds. That's all it is. But that was unbelievable stuff from Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson, Kevin O'Connell. Crazy ending to a game. Defense stepped up when they needed it to. Let's get into the defense here. Great job starting the game. 3-and-out, I believe. It was either 3-and-out or they got a couple first downs and they punted. Great stuff from the defense. You score, you get a stop. That's what you need to do on the road. And they did just that. Executed at a high level. Leaving Gilmore on an island with Metcalf, don't know if I like that. You're going to have to do it a lot when you're blitzing. This defense couldn't get home blitzing, which was really making me upset. Andrew Van Ginkel came up with some sacks down the stretch that were huge. But it's still at the same time, it just seemed like you weren't putting enough pressure on Geno Smith. And as soon as you did put pressure on Geno Smith, Josh Metellus came around the edge and got him the run. He threw that interception to Dallas Turner. That was huge. You need to pressure these guys. And when you can't, you're leaving your corners on an island with some of the best wide receivers in the game. So it's going to happen. I thought it was good defense from Stephon Gilmore. It was just a better play on offense from DK Metcalf. Byron Murphy Jr. Byron Murphy Jr. is our Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy the second is the Seahawks Byron Murphy. Our Byron Murphy. He's going to be a priority this offseason. I didn't think he was going to be at the beginning of the season. I thought we could have maybe found someone better. Mekhi Blackmon could maybe fill that hole. But I think he might be a necessity. He's playing very, very good. And it's a contract year, and he knows it. But he's playing very, very, very good. Slot corner is where he is. And with Shaquille Griffin and Gilmore on the outside, he's able to play that slot corner position, and he's been balling. Close to the lead in NFL interceptions. He's been playing great. Dallas Turner interception, unbelievable stuff. A guy who's never had to play coverage in his probably entire football career. A guy who's just used to rushing the passer. But you need to be able to drop back in coverage a couple times just to keep this offensive line on their toes. He did just that, reading the quarterback's eyes perfectly, rolling out, making a good catch, diving to the ground. Great stuff from Dallas Turner. You love to see it. Get some confidence in that first-round pick. Great stuff. The drive before the half wasn't ideal. Geno Smith was dotting you up 5 plays I think they got down there and then scored a touchdown, wheel route to Jackson Smith and Jigba. It was easy money for them. That's not what you want to see before the half. And they doubled up. They did the touchdown before the half, field goal to start the second half. You don't want to do that. When teams are able to double up, win percentage goes up through the roof, I feel like. The Seahawks didn't run the ball at all. I don't know if it was a matter of that they just couldn't or they just liked their matchups on the outside. Probably could have been a little bit of both. I feel like giving the ball to Kenneth Walker would have been a little bit more smart, keep this defense on its heels a little bit, but they didn't. They didn't run the ball with Walker. They didn't run it with Charbonnet like at all. Instead, only on short yardage situations, which I was kind of surprised by, especially with the elements and the rain coming down. But I don't know. Harrison Phillips in coverage, that was a crazy thing to see. B-Flow was definitely breaking out all the stops. But again, at the end of the game, when you needed to stop, Theo Jackson filling in for Harrison Smith comes up with an interception. And that's what this defense does. They're a bend, don't break mentality. They force offenses to play perfect games. They get the ball for our offense to go put more points on the board. And it's just perfect complementary football right now. And I think that's what KOC loves best. I think B-Flow is willing to risk bringing the heat, leaving one-on-one coverage, if that means you're going to get pressure on the quarterback, force him into some sticky situations, and get interceptions and get fumbles and get whatever it may be for this offense. Huge stuff from this defense down the stretch. Huge stuff from this offense down the stretch. Unbelievable game. That was a fantastic, exciting, fun game from this Minnesota Vikings team. Wrapping it up here, KOC, first coach in Vikings history to have 2 13-win seasons. And may I remind you guys, he is in his 3rd season as the Vikings head coach. Extend this man. Give this man a blank check. Whatever KOC wants, KOC gets. He's going to be the NFL Coach of the Year this season. I'm not sure when the last time the Vikings had a Coach of the Year. If they've ever had a Coach of the Year, I'd have to imagine they had. But, and to that stat, shout out Bud Grant. He played when, NFL didn't play that many games. But 13 wins and 2 13-win seasons in 3 seasons is crazy stuff. Fantastic job from KOC. I love that he's going to be here for years and years and years. And why not bring home a Super Bowl, KOC? Why not you? Why not you, man? Sam Darnold has had a passer rating above 100 12 times this season. Only Aaron Rodgers in 2020 and 2011 and Patrick Mahomes in 2018 have more in a season. That is crazy. That is crazy. And KOC preached about it a lot. He was saying that he preaches having that passer rating above 100 in this offense, and that means you're usually executing at a high level, and this offense is going to be clicking. And that's, point blank period. That's what happens. That's what happened this season. 12 different times hitting 100 passer rating, and you have 13 wins. Coincidence? I think not. And Andrew Van Ginkel, shout out Andrew Van Ginkel. 2 sacks. He won NFC Defensive Player of the Week. 2 massive sacks down the stretch. Absolutely balled out. The Minnesota Viking himself, as I like to call him, that blonde hair. Awesome stuff from Andrew Van Ginkel down the stretch. Great game. On to the Packers. We're going to preview that here in a little bit, but let's take a look around the league. Here's our side eye look around the league. Packers got bailed out by playing the Saints. 34-0. That was a brutal Monday Night Football game. I hardly even watched it because I knew it was going to be a no contest. Spencer Rattler playing in Lambeau, that is a recipe for absolute disaster. They brought Spencer Rattler into the freezer in the cafeteria at the Saints facility. Safe to say it didn't work. Safe to say it did not work. So Packers got bailed out by playing absolutely nobodies. Lions absolutely clowned the Bears. That fake fumble play, that's just disrespectful. You're not attempting that against anybody but the Bears either, because the Bears are the stupid team to fall for that. I guess any team would fall for that because who's sick enough to run a play like that? But that was something else. That was a crazy play. Bucks lose to the Cowboys. That's big implications for the Vikings if they don't end up getting the 1 seed. So if the Vikings don't get the 1 seed, they're pretty much locked in to to the 5th seed. Green Bay isn't going to be able to catch them because say Green Bay beats the Vikings this week. That would be the only way the Packers could catch them. The Lions are most likely going to rest those guys up week 18 because they got the 1 seed sealed and dealed. So Vikings are most likely going to be playing the winner of the NFC South or NFC West. Hopefully it's the NFC South. That means it would most likely be the Falcons. No Kirk Cousins, which would suck because he sucks, but Michael Penix Jr. So big implications for the Vikings with the Buccaneers losing there. Panthers beat the Cardinals, eliminating them from the playoffs. Panthers are getting hot. I'm excited about Bryce Young. I'm glad he's been playing up to his standards. He's been playing great. Love to see that. Rams escaped the Jets in Meadowland. Rams Packers would be a crazy playoff matchup. That would be an awesome playoff matchup. 2 great head coaches. It'd be fun. The Jets blow. As soon as you need a win from the Jets, can't happen. Eagles lose to the Commanders. Eagles cook themselves for the number 1 seed, and that is fact. Jalen Hurts going down obviously makes a big impact. Eagles win that game if Jalen Hurts plays probably. I don't think Kenny Pickett lost them the game, but they definitely win it if Jalen Hurts plays. Eagles are out of the race for the 1 seed. Commanders are now pretty much in the playoffs, like 98% for that last seed. So Commanders, Jaden Daniels, shout out Jaden Daniels, man. Maybe they can make some noise. That's a very likely matchup for the first round in Wild Card Weekend. Eagles Commanders again. Falcons put up 34 points without Kirk Cousins. Shocker. You take Kirk Cousins off the field and your offense is back to normal. But again, they were playing the Giants. And shout out the Giants, number 1 pick in the NFL draft right now because the Raiders decided to win. The Raiders dropped from like number 2 overall to number 6th overall. Talk about a costly win there. Chiefs win again. Shocker. Ravens win again. Shocker. So, I mean, stuff's going on in the AFC. The AFC's feel like it's just like the wild card teams trying to get set. But, it doesn't really matter about the AFC. That concludes our side-eye look around the league. Let's get into the Facebook scroll of the week. Minnesota Vikings Facebook scroll. Again, I'm not going to say any names, but if you want to go look at who said what, just join some Vikings group chats on Facebook and you'll be able to figure out who. Someone said, sorry, this team hasn't gone against a legit contender all season other than the Lions. Well, people are calling the Packers a legit contenders, not believing the hype, and you can cry all about it, but this schedule has been one of the easiest ones in the league. Number 1 seed or not, they will lose the very first playoff game. I mean, bah humbug, first of all. It's like, do people have joy sitting here and just shitting on the Vikings no matter how they do? Like, live a little, bro. You got to enjoy the ride while it happens. Only 1 team wins the Super Bowl every single season, and the Minnesota Vikings have never done that, obviously. So you have to enjoy the ride of the regular season, winning games in an exciting fashion. You can't just sit here and bitch and moan about every single Vikings game and think about how, oh, they're not going to win in the playoffs. You can't do that. That's not a fun way to watch the Vikings. And saying that the Vikings have only played 1 contender, I mean, they've played teams when people thought they beat the Niners, they beat the Texans, they beat the Packers, they were in a 2-point game with the Lions. I mean, it's just a bunch of boof. It's just a bunch of boof. People are haters. As much as it sucks to see the Packers winning, it's sure good to see the return of the paper bag wearing crappy New Orleans Aints, not the Saints, the Aints. That's facts. You never like to see the Packers win, but Saints suck. This dude has been this dude is just certified hater. He just says stuff to get people wound up. The gritty flag was well deserved, and he spelled gritty wrong, by the way. It's deserving. It's getting out of hand. Taking time to rehearse this childish stuff is ridiculous. The gritty needs to go. Grow up and focus on football. Again, bah humbug. My God. Live a little bit, guy. Who cares if they go out and celebrate after a touchdown? If I'm making millions of dollars and I just caught a touchdown pass in the NFL, I'd be celebrating too. Man, this is just life. Packers destroyed Seahawks 30-13, and the Vikings barely beat the Seahawks 27-24. Do you think the Vikes will beat the Packs? I said this earlier in the year. Comparing wins against similar opponents is the dumbest thing you can do. This Team X beat Team Y by 13 points, but Team Z only beat Team Y by 3 points. So Team X is going to blow them out. That is the laziest way to do it. Because if you want to look at it that way, let's look at it that way. The Packers didn't play Geno Smith in the second half. They didn't play Kenneth Walker, and that was just a all around different game than the one the Vikings just did. The Vikings played a completely different Seattle Seahawks team. And then you could say the same thing about the Rams. The entire NFC North but the Vikings beat the Rams. But the Vikings had to play Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp on fresh legs on a short week traveling west. Nobody else had to do that. The Vikings did. So comparing common opponents in games is just a lazy way to think about the NFL. Someone said, "Can we start a group with less?" Someone said, "Can we start a group with less, more stupid Vikings fans? They're frustrating." Hate to say it, bro, but you're probably one of those less, more stupid Vikings fans, as you said yourself. What a comment. Not gonna lie. Our last 2 games is going to be tough. Thanks. Thanks for the comment, man. That's this dude's spitting facts. Get this dude on ESPN talking head right now. Because this dude's got the freaking details. And he knows what he's talking about. The last 2 games are gonna be tough. Hell yeah, man. That's facts. Someone said, "When did this group become a bunch of Paul Allen, mouth-breathing, purple Kool-Aid drinking sheep? No one and nothing is beyond criticism." Yeah, you're right. No one and nothing is beyond criticism. But when the Vikings are 13-2 in a season where they're expected to win 6 games and finish last in the NFC North, maybe just live a little and have some fun about this insane and exciting Vikings season. Someone said, "Sam Darnold is this generation of Kurt Warner and the greatest show on turf." I wouldn't go that far, but if he wins the Super Bowl, then we can go that far. So let's see what happens first. If the Vikes win the Super Bowl in the same fashion as this Seattle game, will the haters and non-believers still complain? Yes, they will. Because Vikings fans will bitch and moan about anything, whether they win by 40, whether they win by 4. Vikings fans will always find a way to complain because they didn't do one thing that they thought they should have done in the third quarter with 8 minutes left in the game, or 8 minutes left in the third quarter. There's always something. I see tweets and posts about KOC being fired every single week. That's how brain dead these Minnesota Vikings fans are. Someone said, "We have been playing with house money since win number 8. Enjoy the ride. Darnold can be our Nick Folk for all I care." I think bro meant to say Nick Foles, unless he wants him to be Nick Folk. Nick Folk has been awesome this season. I think he's like leading the league in 50-yard field goals, maybe. I don't know if that's true. I might have just pulled that out of my ass. But yeah, Darnold can be our Nick Folk for all I care. That'd be awesome. Any chance fans on here could hold off being negative until after the first 5 minutes of the game? That is true. I do see a lot of posts when I'm going through Facebook about people just bitching and moaning about certain things. And I can tell that it's happening in like the first 5 minutes of the game. And I'm like, bro, just calm down. Calm down. Let's just wait till the end here. This might be one of the best ones all season. "We have won 8 straight. But to win home field and then win the Super Bowl, we would need to win 13 games in a row. Is that realistic or should we lose one? I'm not going to be too upset if we lose a regular season game down the stretch. Of course, I would love the full winning streak, and boy, that would make us super special." This is a crazy comment. If you win the Super Bowl, like if you go into the Super Bowl winning 12 straight games, nobody's going to be like, "Oh, can they win their 13th straight game?" I don't think they can because this has never been like that. Doesn't matter. If you're going to keep winning games, keep winning games. Like just because a streak is happening doesn't mean that something else isn't going to. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, should the Vikings lose a game because winning 13 games in a row is really unrealistic? What? Byron Murphy II, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he said in his post-game presser that shouldn't have been a face mask call. It was the most oblivious face mask call of all time. Someone said, clear as day, that was a face mask. Anyone want to give this dude a bottle? Crackers with that wine and horse sportsmanship conduct. He won. That's all that matters. We won. That's all that matters. Skull. Yeah, I guess you're right. That concludes the Facebook scroll of the week. My punishment, if you guys haven't tuned in yet, it's pinned on my Instagram page, Strictly Late, and I have a punishment for every single game. If the Minnesota Vikings lose, I have to do the corresponding punishment. The Seahawks one is that I would have to buy my girlfriend Starbucks for the entire week. I obviously don't have to do that. That was because Starbucks is obviously started in Seattle. This week, if the Minnesota Vikings lose to the Packers, I have to drink 12 spotted cows and 2 large cheese curds from Culver's. That's just some Wisconsin stuff. People in my DMs from Wisconsin will tell me that's a regular Tuesday. Well, sorry, I'm not you, and I'm not a Wisconsinite who's just fat and sits around and drinks 12 spotted cows and eats 2 large cheese curds on a Tuesday night. That's not me, buddy. I got stuff to freaking do and a weight to maintain. I'm not trying to look like you, Packers fans. Let's just be for real. All right, let's get into it. Packers versus Vikings. One of, if not the biggest game in US Bank Stadium history. Everything is on the line for the Minnesota Vikings. The number 1 seed in the NFC North. Everything is on the line. Not to mention just beating the Packers in US Bank Stadium. I absolutely hate losing to the Green Bay Packers. I'm not going to talk crap. I'm not going to say anything bad because I know it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a very, 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 very tough game. I realize that. But there is nothing worse than losing to the Packers in US Bank Stadium in Minnesota on our home turf. That cannot happen. I hope that does not happen. The Packers have been playing great, and they always do in December. The run game is going. Jordan Love is looking great, but they've also been playing some pretty crummy teams. So I'm looking forward to the Packers playing this Vikings defense once again. Obviously, the Vikings defense and the offense was routing them in Lambeau Field the first time they played. Packers came back, made it a little bit interesting, but at the same time, the Packers never had a chance to take the lead in the second half, so not that interesting. But this game is going to be interesting. Can the Vikings win? Obviously. The Vikings are favored. The Vikings are 1-point favorites at home. This is going to be a tough game, and everything is on the line. The Packers don't really have much to play for, to be honest with you. They're pretty much locked into the 6th seed. The only way they can move up and get the 5th seed is if they beat the Vikings, and then if they win their last game against I don't know who it is, and then the Lions beat the Vikings in week 18. But I just don't think that's going to happen because I think if the Lions lock the 1 seed up, they're going to rest their guys because everybody is hurt on defense. So we'll see. Everything is on the line. Stop the run game. For the love of God, you're going to need to stop Josh Jacobs. That's going to be a big key against the Packers here and all of 8 of their wide receivers. I'm really interested. Packers on a short week. Let's see what happens. It's going to be one hell of a game. And if you're going to the game, for the love of God, you better scream your lungs out. Your lungs out. This needs to be the loudest game in US Bank Stadium history. Easily. It needs to be. All right. I'm asking ChatGPT. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Christmas episode. It's going to be a little bit shorter. Christmas Day. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. Name the most random Vikings player you can think of. All right. I'm going to go Chester Taylor. I think they've said that before. I think it's going to pop up again. Here we go. How about Josh Freeman? Oh my God. I think about Josh Freeman often. I mean, that Monday night game against the Giants, I think about that game often. The quarterback who played for the Minnesota Vikings for just 1 game in 2013, he's probably one of the most random, forgettable players in team history, given his brief and uneventful stint with the team. ChatGPT, that's wrong. He's one of the most memorable Vikings in franchise history because that one start against the Giants was not uneventful, and it was not forgettable. I will remember that game for the rest of my life because that is one of the worst football games I have ever seen with my own 2 eyes. I appreciate you guys. Big Vikings win on Sunday. Big Vikings game this upcoming Sunday. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. I appreciate you guys.